His voice as a mixer is so underappreciated, but it's one of the things that makes Wolf
I agree.
so iconic.
But it's like you don't want to take yourselves too seriously, but you want to take the music deadly seriously. And I feel like Wolfpack is a perfect example of that.
You know what's also really nice about listening to it at this volume, listening to 70s records, which you forget what it feels like and what it sounds like, the dynamic range.
Yeah, it gives the impression of being improvised almost. And Jaco actually did this a lot. He would write solos out, but for most of his recorded solos, they were probably prepared ahead of time.
Musicians React.
Welcome to Professional Musicians React. Psyched to be here this morning. We got a very special guest. Before we jump in, just wanted to say a huge shout out and thank you to the community. It's been so fun making the show and hearing from y'all, and we love your suggestions. Please keep them coming. Really appreciate everybody's time and watching the show. So thanks for being here.
Okay, we have 2 songs today. One of them inspired the other. We'll let you guys guess which inspired which. Weather Report's Teen Town and Wolfpack's Dean Town. And with us today, we have the one and the only Adam Neely, who has 1.5 million subscribers on YouTube. He's a bassist, a composer. He's a founding member of the EDM electro jazz outfit Sungazer with drummer Sean Crowder. He's appeared on NPR, TEDx, South by Southwest. You know him, Adam Neely.
Gosh, it sounds crazy. Thank you guys so much for having me. This is going to be so much fun today.
Thank you for being here.
I'm sure everybody has seen Adam's videos, and so there's no need to tell you to go check out Adam's YouTube channel. But if you have not seen Adam's videos, if you have not seen his channel, he makes the most incredible, deep dive, beautiful, analytical videos about music and music theory and structure and composition and form and melody and tempo. It's really incredible. Go check out Adam's videos. They're the best.
He's also a great bass player,
I'm all right.
as you'll see.
Well, thank you so
Will
much.
be
guys.
evidenced here today.
And with us today, we also have Tim Sonnefeld. Tim is a Grammy Award-winning producer, engineer, multi-instrumentalist. Tim, thank you for being here.
Guys, it's always great to be here with you.
Okay, icebreaker question. Before we jump in, what's a bass line that you've been listening to recently that you just love?
So the new Bill Wirtz tune,
Oh,
I'm Scared,
snap. Oh,
has
snap.
a killin' bass line.
I'm scared. I'm scared of the world out there.
Well, I've been in a Yeba rabbit hole recently.
Oh.
And what really hooked me was she did the session live from Electric Lady. And Pino's playing bass.
It was a stormy winter. I was a city burn. And ever since I can remember.
I'm going to give you a new band that I discovered maybe just 2 months ago. I've heard the record probably 15 to 20 times, whole record back to back. It's just one of those records that I've fallen in love with. The band is called Men I Trust. It's like a French-Canadian band, I think. And the album is called Oncle Jazz, O-N-C-L-E, Oncle Jazz, which sounds so...
Uncle Jazz,
Uncle
baby.
Jazz!
Okay, the first song we're listening to today is Teen Town by Weather Report. Tim has some facts about Teen Town for us before we dive in and talk about it.
Tim, what do you got?
The third track on side 1 of Weather Report's 7th album, Heavy Weather, released in '77, was Teen Town. It was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame in 2011. It was Weather Report's best-selling album, quickly selling over 500,000 copies. Jaco played drums on the recording as well. He played them first, and then he overdubbed the bass afterwards. We got such a classic lineup. Jaco Pastorius on drums and bass, Joe Zawinul on Rhodes and an ARP 2600 and an Oberheim, Wayne Shorter on soprano sax, Manolo Badrena on congas.
Woo!
Very pumped for this.
Can't wait. Louis Cole kick drum. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Teen Town, baby. Teen Town.
What a great recording.
Like the recording quality too.
It's
Like,
so good.
yeah, when I first listened to this, like when I was in high school, and you don't really appreciate, I guess, recording quality when you're a
Yeah.
young jazz nerd, but like listening back, it's like, dang, this is.
It's all there.
Yeah.
It's so tasty.
You know what's also really nice about listening to it at this volume
Yeah.
too? Listening to 70s records, which you forget what it feels like and what it sounds like, the dynamic range.
Yeah,
Do you think those drums were all played at once?
No.
They're 3 separate tracks,
Yes.
definitely not. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jocko played, he was just hi-hat for the first pass. Then there was, I think, just a kick drum
right? Yeah.
pass with like the kick drum has like an insane amount of reverb on
It
it.
sounds like he's playing it with like a mallet or something.
For sure.
Yeah.
I've never gotten like official confirmation on how he played it, but it's clear that it's not one drum set. It's like
Right.
3 separate tracks.
Which is why, I mean, it sounds so good.
To me, what it sounds like, and maybe I'm cheating a little bit because I've seen the Wolf recording, and maybe actually they took inspiration from how Jocko recorded
Yeah.
drums. But the hi-hats are recorded separately, but there's a kick snare track that's recorded together. That's what it sounds like to me.
Okay.
It sounds like a kick with a mallet, like Jack played it in
Yeah.
the Wolf recording. And then the snare sounds like 2 tracks of snare to me. Maybe I'm wrong, but it sounds like there's 1 track of snare, which is like backbeats. And then
Yeah.
there's a second track of snare, which is like accents, which I would bet, again, maybe I'm wrong about this. I would bet that Jocko recorded that second snare drum, the accent snare drums, after the bass because they match so beautifully with the bass.
One of the reasons why this bass line sounds so big and full is that it's being doubled by Joe Zawinul. Like every note is being doubled by synth, but it's so low in the mix that you just are hearing the transients.
I didn't know that.
And if you listen to live recordings of this, the synth is a lot more prominent. And it's also, when they play it live, it's a lot faster too. So it's like this crazy synth bass explosion. But in the original recording, it's just like, it's a little bit of it just cuts a little bit more because there's synth on every single note in the bass line.
That's so interesting. I didn't know that there was a synth bass doubling the bass when I heard it. It's so interesting that they would lower that in the mix because it's such a flex to double that bass line with another instrument.
It's not super idiomatic to play like that line on keyboard.
No.
But I mean, Joe Zawinul's amazing.
Can we hear that again
Yeah.
to listen to
Great
that?
idea.
Let's listen to those.
Yeah, you hear it now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
listen to this. Listen. Right? Those extra snare hits, those are overdubbed, right?
Probably, yeah.
Well, he also knew what the melody was before he
Before
played it on
recording
the
drums.
bass. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is like very much like a through composed melody that was laid down beforehand. So a through composed bass line is not very common because most bass lines repeat. That's part of the role of a bass player, is to repeat an idea and really ground the sound of a composition. But when you through compose a bass line, it acts as a melody where it's always changing, always telling a new story. And part of what makes Teen Town so awesome is the fact that the story is being told in the bass. I'm not even sure if it was Jocko who wrote all of it. It might have also been a Joe Zawinul, like a collaboration between the two of them, because at least at this point, Jocko was very much working with Joe Zawinul. He co-produced this record, I believe, too. So they were very much of the same mind with this record and like this recording too. So yeah.
Adam, when you hear this bass line, I know you're saying it's through composed. Clearly it sounds through composed. But are there motifs that you're hearing throughout, or like that give it consistency, or that give it a thread? Like, what are you hearing when you hear this
Yeah.
bass line?
Not really. Like it's very much a stream of conscious. It gives the impression of being improvised almost. And Jocko actually did this a lot. He would write solos out he was a great improviser, but for most of his recorded solos, they were probably prepared ahead of time. They're the first track of his debut album, Donna Lee. His debut album was self-titled, but it's a jazz standard, but he definitely wrote out everything. He wrote out all the ideas. And I think with Teen Town, it was a similar approach. He has these improvisatory ideas, but it's all just written down. There's one line in particular. That one, I'm pretty sure he grabbed from bluegrass players. Have you ever heard of a G-run? So a G-run is a short melodic lick which bluegrass musicians play at the ends of phrases to kind of turn around and signal other bluegrass musicians that it's now time to start the next phrase. I learned this from my friend Mark Kiliansky when I was playing some bluegrass bass with the Golden Shoals, which is a great bluegrass band. It's fun. I love bluegrass music. And it's like very open string vocabulary kind of thing. And I'm positive that Jaco had heard this from like a Bill Monroe session or something. Which is, it's just a pentatonic scale. Root, I guess the sharp 2, or what do you call that now? The flat 3.
Right.
That thing. And so he's taken all of these ideas, these like kind of almost tropes, and stringing them together in this very particular way where it's like this through composed bass line. There's no like singular motif. It's just these very idiomatic phrases that are being linked together across this 4-chord chord progression.
How is he writing that? Is he writing it with his instrument, like playing, like soloing over and over, and then recording it, and then finding cool moments and saying, "Oh, I'm gonna use that chunk"? Is he just playing it live and listening back? Like, how does he do that?
I have no idea. It must be that, because they're so particular, these like little lines. My favorite thing about this, though, it doesn't hit 1 ever. In any of these lines, he's never hitting 1, which is one of these things where you never really notice it until you notice it, and then you can't unnotice it.
When you say the 1, you're talking about the first beat of each measure.
Exactly.
When the chords change.
Bootsy Collins, keep it on the 1, baby.
Right.
You know, that's the key to funk, as he says. And this is very interesting because he never hits 1. So it gives it this kind of unmoored feeling. Like you're never like really hitting.
You never arrive.
There's never like the grand arrival point until really the end. Boom, boom, ba-da. Which is such a cool effect, I think. You know, there are not that many bass lines that I can think of that regularly avoid 1.
Yeah.
I call it being allergic to 1.
Totally. It's the opposite of what a bass player is supposed to do.
Exactly. And yet it's somehow so killing in this context.
Yeah.
Just so good.
So what are the 4 chords?
4 chords are C, 13. And then it goes down a minor third to A, 13.
Okay.
And then it goes up to F, 13. And then it goes down another minor third to D, 13. Yeah, that's it.
C, A, F, D.
Yeah. Try and come up with some... It's hard to like think about how you would solo or improvise over that, because it's just dominant 7th chords, but...
It's
Okay.
almost heart and soul, put it that way.
Hey, yeah.
One of the things that's I think so grounding about this, though, it's very flowy and improvisational, and it's got this there's this horn hook and synth hook that's maybe 10 or 15 seconds that happens every minute or two.
Yep.
To just like, it's like the chorus of the song, but obviously it's not like a chorus, but it grounds the whole thing and gives him kind of a framework to improvise in, you know?
Yeah. I mean, this kind of bass line, we're going to talk about it with Deantown too, but this kind of bass line's very rare, where it's like, it's a melody and it's also a bass line and it's also improvisatory kind of. And I think that horn line that is like the glue that makes it make sense.
the hook. Yeah.
It's the hook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, this is cool. I think one of the reasons why the song works so well is it's a pop song.
Yeah,
and the,
totally.
the contrast between like the angularity of the melody of the bass line is contrasted with the hook, and like it's grounded in so much stuff.
Yes,
If
for
it were just that melody with like a weird groove, it wouldn't be the hit that it is.
Yeah, and there's so much more to it besides the bass line
Right.
too. There's like it's very sparse, it's very mysterious.
Yeah.
And that's very important because there are like long periods of time towards the end where there is no bass line and you're like, wait, I thought this was a bass
Yeah.
explosion. Where is it? And then you're almost like taken off guard when the bass comes back in towards the end. There's this like kind of this like almost like Motowny, like a kind of bass line that happens.
Where is
like
that?
a-
Where's
that?
that?
That's
Yeah.
Yeah. That's that
so
chromatic
hip.
that chromatic lineup is beautiful.
Oh my God, some John Williams shit.
so. I mean, like huge influence on me too. Like growing up, I listened to a ton of this record. Heavy
How old
Weather.
were you?
Like 14 or 15, really getting into bass for the first time. My dad bought me Jocko's self-titled record, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is incredible! I have to like listen to all this."
That's a good dad right there.
Yeah, my dad's great.
All right, should we move on?
Dean Town.
Okay, so this is the fun bit. This is finding all of the comparisons to Teen Town because it's Dean Town is different, but there's so much that's similar. There's so much that's similar. It's so cool.
Okay, Tim, tell us about Dean Town.
So this is a Wolfpack song that was released as a digital single in 2016. It also appeared on their second studio album, The Beautiful Game. It's one of the most performed songs by the band. It's a crowd favorite. The audience often sings along to the bass line. It was written by Woody Goss, the group's keyboardist, while he was still in music school. So we got Woody Goss, who wrote it. He's also playing Wurlitzer. Joe Dart, of course, is on bass. Corey Wong is on guitar. Theo Katzman is playing a cymbal. Jack Stratton mixed and also played kick and snare.
All right, let's listen to this freaking recording because it's
Hit it, Jack.
All right, let's do it.
fuck me, god damn it. God. God.
Modern day classic. It's so good. Like,
Okay, what are the chords of this song?
good question. This is like F7, C sharp 7,
Okay, hold on.
E7.
Hold on. F7,
Or it's like F sharp. F sharp. Did I say F?
F sharp.
It's F sharp, C sharp, E, B. Yeah. It's another 4-chord loop.
Yep.
Right, but it's a different 4-chord loop.
F sharp, C sharp,
Yep. And then we got the E
E,
and B. That's
D.
it. Yep. That's it. I mean, like it's such a cool, like there's so many little things like the yo.
But you're playing it with dominant sevens. It doesn't sound like a dominant 7 loop when they play it. It's like a major kind of thing.
But like the world is dominant 7th. It's not
Yeah.
literally dominant 7th. It's like
Yes.
that world really.
A few things that pop out to me. I'll maybe just like mixing first.
Yes.
Jack's mixing
Yeah.
on the kick and the snare drum is so snappy and hard hitting and
Yeah.
thick. I want to sit down. I would kill to see just how he mixes music because it sounds so definitively like Wolfpack and his drums just sound incredible.
His voice as a mixer is so underappreciated, but it's one of the things that makes Wolf
I agree.
so iconic. I mean,
Yeah.
it's instantly recognizable.
Yeah.
I love that voice as a mixer because to me, Wolfpack is the sound of the mix as
Yeah.
much as it is the individual musicians.
Which
'Cause
is
And
which
that's
is
Jack. And
Yeah.
that's Jack. Yeah.
Yeah.
it's pretty incredible. It's also pretty incredibly different from Teen Town, just in terms of like mix philosophy and mix idea, but it's still like this. Like I don't know, the DNA is the same, but the mix is very different.
I mean,
too, which
look,
is
look
cool.
at this.
Yeah,
That's Deantown.
yeah,
That's Teen Town.
yeah,
Yeah.
Like Deantown is a brick.
yeah.
And I mean, but it's a modern mix. That's almost not fair. It's a modern mix made with freaking limiters.
Which is funny because Teen Town was mixed by professional, like hi-fi. That's as hi-fi as it gets, right? In like the 70s with the nicest gear. Dean Town was mixed on a laptop with like plugins that Jack made. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's a cool.
It's funny that it's a modern mix that's all loud and whatnot because it's made with tools that are so much cheaper.
Yeah, I mean, we're thinking of it's a throwback mix, but to me, it's not really a throwback mix. It's a modern rock mix.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
then Teen Town is hi-fi, but that actually is a vintage mix.
A proper mix.
A proper vintage mix, it's just a different philosophy, I think.
And
Yeah.
this is one of the things I absolutely love about being alive right now is that the gear used to make that Weather Report record
yeah.
is probably millions of dollars of gear. I mean, I don't know what board they use, some SSL, whatever, or
Right,
something.
right.
But like the room, the gear, the people, the
Yeah.
time, the acoustics, the sound design, right? It's like millions of dollars of production costs.
Yep.
Versus, like, if you watch the Wolfpack video, right? It's like
Yeah,
six
it's like
guys in
it's
their
like
freaking
5
bedroom,
SM57s.
one camera.
Yeah.
You hear the snare buzz every time you get this.
Yes.
You're hearing the snare buzz from over there, and that's like adds the vibe, I think. It's so good.
it's just such a special. I mean, I'd always
It's
say
such
that
a special recording.
it's such a I think it's such a special time to be alive right
That
now.
too, that
when
too.
you can freaking make this stuff,
Yeah.
and no one can stop you, and you could just make this.
Yeah.
Like they did, and it's so good. Okay, the form.
Yeah.
It's like AA, which is like the chorus kind of thing. They do a similar thing to the Weather Report tune, where there's this wonderful like refrain that kind of is the grounding throughout the song, and they start with that, right? That's the boom 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 boom.
Well, yeah,
boom,
which
boom,
is
boom,
interesting
boom,
because
boom,
it's not a hook, but it serves the same grounding function of just being all right. We are now in 16th note land.
Yeah,
This is our compass, and this is our groove point, and then we're going into the bass melody. That's when we're in like, okay, this is a crazy thing that's happening, and then we're back into groove land for the 60. It serves the same function as the.
Yes.
It's not the same though. Yeah.
and I think it's a similar flex too. I mean, I know that it's a different way of flexing, but in the beginning of the Weather Report tune, they lower the synth sound so that you think it's just a bass. It almost sounds like, oh, this is a solo. There's nothing special about that. There's a similar thing that happens with Deantown too,
Exactly.
which
yeah.
is they're I mean, the first like minute and a half of the song is fucking cowboy punk rock
Yeah.
which is like, if you were to just watch that song for a minute, you'd be like, there's nothing special here. And then the rest of the tune, you're like, oh my God, these are some of the best musicians alive today. But that's an equal, I think it's an equal flex, different way of flexing, but an equal flex.
Well, I feel like the 16th notes at the top, it's like a soccer anthem. You know what I mean? I think that's why it works so well at shows with everybody singing. Is because like,
It's just like
yeah, it's very accessible though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's sort of like I feel like that's why Wolf connects with so many people, is that it's accessible, like brilliant musicianship. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. They're restrained. It's restrained virtuosity.
and
yeah.
they're not. It's a joke. They're not taking themselves seriously, but it's good.
What's it? There's a Frank Zappa quote. I forget exactly what he says, but it's like you don't want to take yourselves too seriously, but you want to take the music deadly seriously. And I feel like Wolfpack is a perfect example of that. They take their craft damn like that's a really brilliantly crafted song.
Yeah.
But as like musicians, it's goofy and it's fun. And I feel like that philosophy of not taking yourself too seriously, but taking the music very seriously is like a great approach. Because the other way, when you flip it around, it's not quite as, I don't know, I can't relate to people who take themselves too seriously in that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love the Corey Woody
Yes.
pocket
Yeah.
that
Oh, yeah.
happens. Do you know what I'm
In the
talking
jam.
about?
Yeah. We should
Yeah,
listen to that.
Can we
check
listen to that? It's
Yeah.
the parts are so beautifully arranged,
Yeah.
and it's such arrangement expertise. You got to hear Woody's part first. Play Corey. Okay, can we do that without 1, 2, 3, 4? Like the way that like jigs and dances with itself is so hot. It's
Yeah.
like it's so inspiring. They're just geniuses at arranging.
Another thing that makes Wolf so iconic that is worth mentioning is the lack of click. Right?
Oh, yeah,
What's so cool about them is that they all feel time together in a specific way, like the bands of old. You know what I mean? And they play so well together, and they've been playing together for so long that it's a pretty unique thing in the modern music landscape.
Yeah, I mean, it'd just be easier to not play it with click, honestly, in this sort of setup where it's like a bunch of people playing in a room. Like having a click just adds literal noise to the wavelength. So you want to really be on that. Yeah.
Totally.
Adam, this bass line is different.
Yes.
This bass line is thematic. It has motives that repeat.
for sure.
Ba-ba-ba-ba-boom.
Boom.
Right?
Ba-ba-ba-ba-boom. Like at the top of that.
There's the second version in a different key.
Yeah, dum that one, and then there's or whatever that like towards the end of the 16 bars. There's a similar thing of dub coming in on like the E chord. Yeah, there's all these like tiny little
Patterns.
chunks. Yeah,
Yeah.
motifs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Theme.
things that you can look forward to that happen over and over again that an arena of people
Can sing.
can sing and latch onto. Yeah.
And that's, I think, like one of the things that, you know, I've seen Wolf half a dozen times now live, and it's every time I see them, it's the best concert of my life.
Yeah, yeah.
Literally every time I'm like, oh, that was the best concert I've ever seen. It was better than the last Wolf concert. But when I saw them the last time, it was with you in LA, right? It was pre-pandemic.
Greek.
At the Greek.
Yeah.
And do you remember there's like probably 200 people in general admission in the
Yeah.
front? And when they started playing this, there were like 200 people singing the bass line, arms in the air, singing along every
I mean,
note.
the entire place was singing the bass. It's for like 5,000 people. You know
Yeah.
what? At
And-
Madison Square Garden, it's everybody.
And I've you know, obviously I didn't see Weather Report live, but I would imagine it's a harder bass line to sing because
Oh,
it's
yeah.
less pattern based.
Right,
It's
right.
less singable for sure. The
Yeah.
bass line for Teen Town. I mean, it is a different song. There's like definitely a different DNA involved with Teen Town.
yeah.
Okay, we got a couple questions from the audience here. Could you talk about Wolf's use of compression and or the Wolf compressor? Do you guys have a favorite cover that Wolf do? This is from the Scary Pockets Discord.
One of the first things I notice in the intro of this song is the way that, because it's hitting the compression so hard, the bass is sidechained to the kick. So Joe is just playing even 16th notes, but every time the kick hits, the bass ducks.
Can we listen to
You wanna
that?
play that real
Yeah,
quick?
yeah.
Let's listen to that.
Oh yeah. I think that the release is timed to the 16th note, meaning the
The release of the compression?
Exactly.
It's like a 38 millisecond release or something.
Yeah, which is like the classic. They say that's the dance release, like whenever you're doing dance tempos, 35 to 40 millisecond release to give it like timed so that it goes in. It's like, and then if you're an engineer, and especially if you're not recording to a click, you just have to like dial that in yourself. But
so that means that
knowing Jack, I kind of doubt that he did that. I think it's just hitting the master, because he's not detail oriented with plugins and whatnot. He's very broad strokes. I'm curious as to how.
I mean,
how
there's
he actually
definitely
did it.
it sounds to me like there's compression on the master bus.
oh yeah,
Right.
And it's like a thick compression. It's either a compression on the master bus or compression on a drum and bass group that's making that pumping.
Or both.
Or both.
Yeah.
Yeah, likely both.
yeah. I love the sound of a bass guitar reacting off of a kick drum like that.
Yeah.
like bouncing off in some way, and so like
Totally.
having it
Me
duck
too.
just a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
It worked. It sits so nice.
Yes. You know what I've been experimenting with recently is like more and more layers of compression and parallel compression too.
Yeah.
And then like grouping things and then regrouping and adding another extra compression. It gives your mixes like a new dimension as you're like building them out, and like causes weird artifacts and ducking and interesting things, like little accidents happen. It's been really fun to do that recently.
Yeah, the compression, if you like are layering different compression, like parallel compression, it like adds the life to a mix, because like everything reacts in a way that if you're just not,
Yes.
it's like the musical elements react to each other.
Yes,
when
and
you
then-
have compression.
And then what's so fun is once you have that set up, you create a new track deep in the mix of buses, and you record something new that has a flavor live. But then when you play it back, since it's so many layers deep in compression and effects, it has this whole new life to it and sounds really cool.
Yeah.
So back in the olden days, if you had a 4-track tape machine and you recorded on every track, and then you wanted to record more things, you'd have to bounce those 4 tracks down to 1 track, and then you could use the other 3 tracks, and then bounce that down to 1 track. Every time you would bounce things down to 1 track, it would be hitting the tape, which would be compressing it. So a lot of times people will simulate that type of multi-layered compression by using like 3 or 4 instances of compression on a master bus.
I never thought
That's killing. Oh,
is
I love
killing.
that. I love that. That's so cool. That's like, it's like you're using the limitations, but like in a very like musical way.
Totally.
And trying to like get back to the point where you have to do that. It's like, that's super cool.
And what's also interesting about that is it's just a little piece of culture that's kind of still with us 30 years later. We liked the sound of something getting hard limited, you know, as it was like being mixed down to 1 track. And
Yeah.
so now we kind of that we it makes us hear those old songs that we love. We feel nostalgic about it. We have all these, you know, associations with music that sounds like that. And so we do it in modern music even though we don't need to.
Okay, guys, question. Where does the name Teen Town come from?
Ooh, that's a great question.
I know it. It's a club in Florida that Jocko frequented, I think. Is that right?
You're correct. You're correct.
Ding, ding, ding.
Adam dropping the knowledge.
Yeah, Jocko living in Florida a bunch of times. Yeah, a youth club. And I have to throw out, he was born and lived for his youth in Norristown, Pennsylvania, right out of Philly. I always have to give a 215 shout out. I can't help it. Why did Jocko start playing bass? A, he was introduced to it at a very young age and immediately picked it up. Or B, he broke his left arm, so he was forced to switch from a different instrument.
It was B. He originally played drums.
Adam, you're kicking our ass in this trivia session.
I'm so sorry.
Give us a chance.
Yeah, you didn't even give anyone a
Give us
chance.
a
I just want to be
chance.
right, guys. I want to be right on the internet, okay?
Well, ladies and gentlemen,
That's
Adam
all
Thiele, I
I
guess. Adam
want to
Thiele.
do.
Awesome. Thank you, Tim. Adam, we're starting a new tradition, and we'd like you to be the first
Oh,
to sign our red diamond.
amazing.
Wow.
First guest to sign the red diamond.
Such power. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm gonna film you doing it here.
Let's do
my
it, guys. All right, red diamond time, baby. Here we go.
Anywhere you
Sign
want.
it. Sign it. What's bass?
Awesome.
It's a kind of fish. I've kind of made a living talking about it.
Adam, thank you so much for joining us today. What a pleasure to have you here and to hear you talk about bass lines and music, and just so fun.
Oh my gosh, it was so much fun hanging with you guys. This was,
Oh, yeah.
And talking about some really, really, really killing music. So
We got
this was
nerdy.
This was a treat.
Yeah.
And thank you everybody for watching. We'll see you next time on Professional Musicians React. Adios.